The Rangers defeat the Vegas Golden Knights 5-1. This was a game that was really reminiscent to last year's Ranger team, and they've been very good on the road this year. Really, it's kind of interesting how the Rangers away from MSG have basically been as good as you could really hope that they would be. Obviously, winning on the road isn't the easiest thing to do. Now in the NHL, it's not like it's, I don't think home ice advantage is huge, but the Rangers have really slipped up at the Garden, but on the road, really good. And this game was more of the same. And another third period explosion from the Rangers, where third periods, when they were losing games, third periods were a problem. Now they're back to being a strength. And that was a huge strength last season. And so now that's a couple games in a row where the third period, the Rangers, this was a tie game going into the third, and they score 4 goals in the third. Rangers win 5-1 against a really good Vegas Golden Knights team. Now, granted, there was no Jack Eichel and no Alex Pietrangelo, but still, a Vegas team that, has been the best team in the Western Conference so far, and a team that just beat the Boston Bruins in Boston, which hadn't been done all season. So that was good. And what I liked tonight was really the top players were really good, and the kids. And you had Lafreniere and Kakko on the Zibanejad line. It worked well. It had a couple of goals, and that was great to see. And look, there's some things that I wish were different line-wise. Now, Vitaly Kravtsov was a healthy scratch. I wish that weren't the case. Has he been great? No, but I don't think that was something that he deserved. So Goodrow was on the second line with Chytil and Panarin. I wish that was Kravtsov, but when I think about it, I guess for a defensive purpose, I guess if you did have Kravtsov on that line, it is kind of a potentially defensive disaster line. So you put Goodrow on there, and it kind of gives that a little bit of stability. But still, I think Goodrow is more served for the fourth line. So that leaves you with Trocheck centering Kreider and Vesey on the fourth line, Brodzinski centering Belay and Gauthier, which is a pretty good speedy line. And I like Brodzinski more than Carpenter. So glad that Brodzinski's in the lineup. However, if you were to get Kravtsov in there, move Goodrow down and take Brodzinski out, I wouldn't have a problem with that either. But Carpenter being a healthy scratch is definitely really good. And what's been underrated is like Miller and Trouba that's been a pair that has been playing a lot better. And that was a big reason, I think, for their struggles as well. That was really a very bad pair. They're starting to find their groove a little bit. They really are. The turnovers aren't quite as bad. And look, power play, 2 goals tonight. The Zibanejad one-time slap shot goals was a thing tonight. And they needed that. And that gave them a 2-1 lead. And then he scored again later, Mika. So now Mika's got 15 goals in the season. But, when you're going to get goals from Kakko, Chytil, and Lafreniere, plus a couple of Zibanejad goals, that's exactly what you're looking for. So this is definitely up there for one of their best wins of the season, without a doubt. When you think about it as a whole, Rangers are now 13-10-5. This was a really big win, and I'm sure it meant a lot to Gallant to beat Vegas. It did not go as well last season, especially at Vegas, where the Rangers really got crushed. This was a lot better. And now they will head into Colorado, a team that just lost 4-0 to Boston. They'll be angry. The Rangers lost to Colorado in the shootout back at MSG, where Georgiev played really well. Colorado has a lot of injuries right now. This is not a full-strength Colorado team. With that being said, though, look, you still have Cale Makar, you still have Mikko Rantanen. There's still a lot of good players in that lineup. So, and like I said, it's going to be a pretty angry Avalanche bunch. But it's certainly winnable, and look, if they don't win it, not the end of the world, but really happy about this Vegas win. Let's talk about it a little bit. Rangers get on the board. I thought that their first period was a pretty good one. In this game, look, was it a full 60? No, not really. I think that their first and third periods are really strong. Second period, not so good. Second period, they kind of had to weather the storm a little bit, and they survived. Shesterkin was really good in the second, but in the first and third, Rangers were really good. Good start to the game, and the Rangers score first, and it's Kakko, who's been really snake-bitten lately. And look, Kreider called it in the post-game last game, and it was an innocent sort of deflection goal where I believe the shot was taken by Keandre Miller. I think it was a Miller shot from the point. It was either Miller or Trouba. they were the pair that was on, and it was a deflection by Kakko. Like I said, 5th goal of the season for Miller and Trouba at 6:49, giving the Rangers a 1-0 lead. They would also get the first power play as Sammy Blais was tripped late in the first period. Ranger power play unsuccessful, and so now we head into the second period. And look, the Rangers, I think the start of the second was pretty solid. Then as, 5 minutes into it, Vegas starts to take over. Their speed starts to become very apparent, and the Rangers start taking penalties. Vinny Trocheck at 13:04 trips his former teammate from Florida, Riley Smith. And then 6 seconds later, Ryan Lindgren with a cross-checking penalty on Mark Stone. Now, with Lindgren, it's frustrating. Ryan Lindgren is probably one of my favorite players on the team. But it was Lindgren, he's been taking a lot of penalties lately. This one, if Stone, I almost wonder, if Stone wasn't in pain, because he was, I wonder if it's called, but still, knowing that you're already shorthanded, Lindgren takes a pretty bad penalty there. And Vegas scores on the 5-on-3. Jonathan Marchessault, it's his 11th goal of the season from Stevenson and Theodore. And at 13:38, we're all tied up at 1. Rangers then kill off the 5-on-4 part of it. And then Goodrow and Kolesar have matching minors at 15:37. Then they get out of the box at 17:44 and have a fight. So Goodrow, we've seen Barclay Goodrow get into some fights lately, and him and Kolesar get into it. Then at 20 minutes, at the end of the second period, Shea Theodore slashes Jacob Trouba. However, unfortunately, power play doesn't score at the start of the third, but Theodore takes another penalty. He trips Philip Chytil at 5:28. And this power play is successful. The top power play unit finally gets it done. It's a pass from Fox to Panarin to Zibanejad, who rifles it home. 14th goal of the season. And just like that, the Rangers have a 2-1 lead. And that's kind of what they're always looking for. Look, it can become predictable, but when Panarin, I feel like Panarin was looking to shoot a little bit more tonight, and that's a good thing. When Panarin's looking to do that, that's key. Look, Panarin had 3 assists. Another assist comes here on a goal by Philip Chytil. So that line ends up getting a goal. It was a nice pass from Panarin, then to Goodrow, who made a nice saucer pass to Chytil, who scores past Thompson. So Chytil's 5th of the year. And so 24 seconds after the Zibanejad goal, Rangers take a 3-1 lead. But they're not done. Alexis Lafreniere scores on a nice pass by Zibanejad, who had a nice pass from Fox. So a couple of assists from Fox. Lafreniere's 5th of the season. 4-1 Rangers. The Rangers would take a penalty. Jacob Trouba at 9:06 called for high sticking, but during that penalty kill, Mark Stone trips Goodrow. And so it's 4-on-4 for a little bit. And eventually the Rangers would get a power play. Well, that was after it was a 5-on-3. So Braden McNabb cross-checks Adam Fox. So the Rangers would have a brief 5-on-3 power play, and they would score on it. Zibanejad, 15th goal of the year, 2nd of the night, from Panarin and Trocheck. Another patented one-time slapshot goal for Mika. So the Rangers have a 5-1 lead at this point. There would be one... Was there one more penalty? I don't know. Maybe. I don't think so. Maybe not. But anyway, Rangers win this one 5-1. And like I said, really, really good win for the Rangers. I hope they can continue this against Colorado. Stick with the lines. When I say that, it's really Lafreniere and Kakko with Zibanejad. Keep that going. And look, I wish that there were some streaks, but don't expect Kravtsov back in the lineup anytime soon. After a performance like this, Kravtsov is probably going to find himself on the bench for a bit. And so that'll kind of be an interesting story. Hopefully it's not a story, but it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds. And it kind of tells you, especially coming off of a win. I know that Chytil returns, and so it's not like a simple matter, but you would have thought that Brodzinski would have been healthy scratch. They didn't want to do that. It's almost as if they wanted to keep that 4th line. And I guess they felt like, I'm happy that Chytil's with Panarin, where you're not forcing Trocheck with Panarin. I like that the kids are getting to play with Panarin and Zibanejad. That's really what you're looking for. And so what that means is someone like Kreider and Trocheck are now on the 3rd line. But that's fair. They get a lot of special teams minutes. So it's nice for those kids, because they're not getting those minutes, to get them on even strength time. And they are some of your better even strength players. They just are. When you look at players like Lafreniere, Kakko, to me, they are better 5-on-5 players, really, than Trocheks and Kreiders, and so they deserve that ice time. Again, Rangers 5-1 winners at Vegas. They will now head to Colorado and probably take on Alex Georgiev. I would think so, even though he played tonight versus the Bruins. I'd expect him to face his former team, and hopefully somehow the Rangers can sneak out of this really, on paper, tough trip with 4 points. But we'll see how they do against Colorado after leaving Vegas as winners 5-1.